Super Bowl champion, NBC Sports Philadelphia, Barrett Brooks. He joins us now on the Sports Bash for Barrett's Breakdown, a weekly look at all things Eagles here on the Sports Bash. And BB, welcome back, my man. What's going on?
Man, it feels great, man, to go into the weekend knowing you already won and sit back and just watch the culmination of everybody just fall and our rise to greatness.
Well, let me ask you this. After watching the games yesterday unfold, now we know this league is very week to week and things change, but what could you say you learned about Philadelphia after watching yesterday?
Well, I mean, I've been saying it for the longest time, and I say it on our show all the time. If this team has any strength, it's in the trenches. They're top 5 in both defensive line and offensive line in the league. And when you have a team built in the interior of your team, then you're good. You're going to be good. You can get past a lot of things, a lot of shortcomings when you have a good defensive line and a good offensive line. It covers up a lot of inequities that you have as a team as a whole. So you can pretty much have any quarterback back there. Plus, we have a good quarterback back there now. It just puts us in a great position to win every single time they go on the field.
Now, would you say that the Eagles' offensive line is the strength of this team?
Going to strength of the offense and the defensive line is straight. It's the lines, period. When you have guys that can rotate and be interchangeable like they have on the defensive line, it just goes to show how good these guys are as a whole. They are definitely 1 and 1A. A lot of those guys that are second team here would be starters in other places. That's what makes them good. On the offensive line, the fact that they can do what they want, they can basically dictate what offense they want to run because of the offensive line. Now you go into with a different mindset when you're doing your offensive game plan because your offensive line can run the ball at will. We looked at this defense that the Panthers had. Everybody was saying, oh, we won't be able to run the ball. They're top 5 as far as stopping the run. It doesn't matter when you have a good offensive line because it definitely takes away of their ace in the hole. When you can't stop the run, it just really puts you in a bad predicament, and you cannot run against that defense. Well, I seem to think that they ran pretty well against them.
Barrett Brooks is with us. Barrett, when you look at this offensive line, is this offensive line a better run blocking line, better pass protection, combination of both? I mean, what's the weakness of this line? Because I think a lot of people agree with you that the underrated portion of teams that are good is how good their offensive lines are. You look around the league, Seattle's a really good team. Their line stinks. They got all sorts of problems there. I mean, even the Giants, they got great skill position. Their offensive line's been a disaster all season long. They finally played well last night, and guess what? Voila, they won. So it is obvious how important that offensive line is. So what is the strength of this Eagle offensive line?
I think the strength is their athleticism. I mean, they're a really athletic offensive line, and they know how to hit the point of attack and move people out of position. They're really good at moving and displacing people, and then the backs can read off those and cut off those displacements. They get guys going in one direction so fast that they overlap each other in the defensive gap schemes, and that's where the holes are originating. They're so good at really stretching guys that you can't take control of a gap, and most defenses are gap-controlled defenses. So Lane Johnson can get out there and hook a guy, and when he hooks him, that defensive player has to fight it back outside. And when he fights back outside, he kind of accelerates himself, and Lane is really good at just pushing him by the hole. Same thing on the backside of the ball. Brandon Brooks, his strength is one-on-one blocking, hitting guys in the mouth and dropping them back. When you have a guy that can do that, you run right behind him. With Lane Johnson displacing a guy, you have an instant hole right there. They specialize at certain things, but it works together good together. Just like Kelsey. Kelsey was a liability before. Well, he's learned now how to use his athleticism as a strength in the double team blocks. He can now double team, secure a guy, and fast enough to get up on that linebacker. So it creates a natural hole because he's already stopping the penetration of one guy and they're able to get up on another guy, which creates a natural hole. So they're running plays that really, really highlight what they are as far as athletes.
Hey, BB, you were an offensive lineman in this league. What did you think of Carson Wentz lowering his shoulder and trying to get himself into the end zone the other night?
What the hell are you thinking about, son? Don't do that again. Let the big guys do that for you. Sometimes you have to live to fight another day. But, hey, it just shows how tough he is. And when you have a quarterback like that, even the defensive side of the ball took notice of that. They saw that. Now they know they have to amp their game up that much higher because your quarterback is out there giving it all up. You go out and play and give everything you have for guys that do the same for you. And that's exactly what Carson is doing. Carson's giving everything he can. So a guy isn't giving his all, he sees that, you're guaranteed to get his best effort from that point on.
Yeah, you definitely balance between what are you thinking and, hey, you're all fired up because that's your franchise quarterback out there. When you see the offensive line and they let Jason Kelce, you see the guys let Jason Kelce, not the line, but the teammates let Jason Kelce get that spike. Does that indicate that the guys are having fun, the locker room's cohesive, they're all on the same page? Because they made sure to include Kelce in that celebration.
That's what it's all about, man. That's exactly what it's all about. If you look at the other guy, the other team, you see how Cam just pushed his guys away. They come in to try to celebrate with him. What does he do? He pushes his guys away, finds the camera, and goes and do his Superman alone in front of the camera. That's not a team. At halftime, he started cussing his offensive line out, telling him, you guys aren't blocking good, you guys are terrible, yada, 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 yada. What does that do for an offense? Well, you look at the other side of the ball. Look at over on the Eagles side. You got a guy like Nelson Agholor giving the ball to the center so he can spike it, so he can enjoy a celebration. That's team camaraderie. When you have that, it's hard. It's really, really hard for you guys, for a team not to be good at that point. I can remember when I played with the Steelers. We always felt as though we were the best team. And the reason why, when we were out of practice, we felt as though we were practicing 100% against the best guys we're going to play against that season. So when we be in practice, when I'm going against Harrison or I'm going against, Clark Hagan, I know I'm playing against the best linebackers. When I'm going against Aaron Smith, I know I'm going against the best defensive end. So when I get in the game, it was easy because I just went against somebody that's way better than this guy that's in front of me right now. So I've already went through the bumps and bruises of going against somebody that's not really as tough as Aaron Smith or Brett Kiesel. So it makes it easier on game day. Game day was always easier than practice when I was at Pittsburgh. And I think these guys are saying the same thing. Listen what Derek Barnett said. He said he goes against the best offensive tackles every week in practice, Lane Johnson and Jason Peters. So you're going to get better. And if you're playing against them, it makes it easier when you go into the game on Sunday because you've already played against the best.
Although this week, Monday night, they'll have their hands full with Washington. Pretty good offensive line. We'll dive more into that next week in Barrett's Breakdown. Right now, we're looking at this team at 5-1 through 6 games here. You mentioned Agholor. And at what point of the season, typically, Barrett, do the coaches kind of reevaluate things and you start to see some roles change, or that you give more to a younger player, or that a guy who maybe wasn't ready, you know what I mean? When do you see guys get a little bit more? Like, do you anticipate them giving Nelson more, putting him more into the game plan, and maybe phasing a guy like Torrey Smith out some? At what point of the season do coaches kind of make those tweaks?
You got to go with the hot hand. And at this point, Nelson is really hot. I mean, he's deserving the play clock he's getting. You give him as much clock as you can get him. Give him as much touches as you can get him because he's playing at a high level right now. And he showed that he's already showed that you give him the ball, you get instant results from him. He's quick. He's playing quick. He's playing fast. He's not thinking about catching the ball. He's just catching it and going. I think he's really turned the corner as far as mentally how to play this game. They say this game is 80% mental and 20% physical. Well, he's shown it just now that, hey, once he gets that out of his head as far as him catching the ball, from that point on, he has been fantastic this year and really going out there and focusing and understanding where he's out there.
Hey, BB, I want to flip over to defense a little bit because you talk about the trenches in the line. They got Fletcher back the other night. They've been winning without him, but what does he add that adds to this defense in terms of making them a potential realistic team that can make a deep run? You can't make that deep run without your stars. Yes, you can win games without them. You got to have a Fletcher Cox if you want to make a deep run. What does he add to their defense that could make them a team that can make a deep run if they can get to the playoffs?
When an offensive coordinator wakes up in the morning and he's introduced a game plan, the first thing he writes on the wall on the board on chalkboard is Fletcher Cox. Not about the play, but Fletcher Cox. Where is this guy on this play? Where is this guy on that play? Now you just can't game plan Fletcher because he has somebody that complements his skill set on the other side of him. And Timmy Jernigan is that guy. We're talking about tit for tat. They both are playing at Pro Bowl levels right now. You got to give Timmy Jernigan as much credit as you give Fletcher Cox because he's pressing the pocket, collapsing the pocket. He's playing a run. He's playing behind the line of scrimmage. He's making a difference. They're reestablishing the line of scrimmage. When the ball snaps, they play on the other side of the line of scrimmage on run and pass. Now, offensive coordinators can't just say, "Oh, we can't just game plan Fletcher Cox, or we can't just slide to Fletcher Cox and Brandon Graham." Now we have to say we can man block these guys. We got to send a chipper in. We got to make sure we solidify on the line first. So they're more worried about blocking those guys as opposed to running offensive plays. And it really showed in this last game. They pressed the pocket back so fast that really Cam Newton didn't go into his reads. He was getting hassled before he didn't go into his reads. There were a lot of times where guys were open. There was comeback plays on comeback routes and deep ends where, Funchess and Benjamin were wide open, but they just couldn't have an opportunity to throw the ball because they were in his lap already. That's the difference between last year's line and this year's line. You can't game plan Fletcher. Now you got to game plan everybody.
Yeah.
So pick your poison. You go ahead and slide to Timmy Jernigan, Fletcher Cox goes off. Slide to Fletcher, now Jernigan goes off. And then you have guys on the outside that can now complement that are finishing plays also. Brandon Graham is finishing plays. On the other side, Curry's finishing plays. It's really, really hard as an offensive coordinator to know what you need to do to stop this D-line. So that's why I say in the trenches is where this team is strong, and that's why this team is 5-1.
Yeah, and a lot of people thought when they lost Logan that would have been a big issue for them. And, when they got Jernigan, the fact that he was just a better fit than Logan. Logan more of kind of that, big, wide, run-stuffing guy. Jernigan gets a lot of pressure right up the middle. He darts through those gaps.
Yeah, he's a one-gap player that plays on the other side of the line of scrimmage. He was definitely an instant. He probably the best free agent acquisition we got this year. I would say that. He's playing at such a high level. You cannot just game plan Fletcher or anybody else. You have to make sure of that. Not just, lead and far be it from me to say and not talk about Michael Kendricks and how he's developed into a player also. So, he's playing at a high, high level. He is running around. He's making plays. And I think the biggest thing with him, he let all the BS out of his mind, and he's out there playing. He's playing fast. He understands conceptually what he has to do on that defense. So because of that, he can turn it loose. He's by far, pound for pound, the best athlete on the field at any given time, and he's finally starting to show it.
Barrett, it's like you're reading my mind because the two guys I wanted to zone in on defense were Nigel Bradham and Kendricks. Both of those guys were all over the place on Thursday night. If you could break down their play for us, and also what do they do with Kendricks now with Hicks coming back?
Well, you got to make sure you got to get him on the field as much as you can. Right now he's playing about 50% of the snaps the past two games, and he's instant results. He's earning it. He says performance pay. Well, he's performed at a level. They're going to have to pay him. They're going to have to pay him with more reps. He's got to get more reps. Last year, he only played 30% of the reps. This year, he is playing at such a high level that you cannot keep him from being out there. And Nigel Bradham sees that. See, the best get right you can get is when somebody else is playing well, and that's where you get Nigel Bradham's get right. He sees Michael Kendricks starting to cut into his reps, so he has to match or play above what Michael Kendricks is doing, especially since Michael Kendricks is a draft pick here. So that's what's going on. Competition is breeding these guys to play bigger and faster and stronger and flying around making plays. Because somebody else is playing at a high level, they've got at least match the level or play above the level to stay on the field. So that's what's going on in this Eagles team. Guys are playing so well. Just like Fletcher Cox not being back gave other guys opportunities to play. Now guys like Hamilton is out there balling because he got an opportunity to play, and he knew he had to make the best of that opportunity. So what happens then? Elijah Qualls gets benched because Hamilton plays at such a high level that he's inside. He's trying to be in the mix as far as being that alternate three technique. And Bo Allen said, well, I want to stay this alternate three technique. So now he has to outplay Hamilton and Elijah Qualls and try to outplay Timmy Jernigan and Fletcher Cox. So all this competition is breeding these guys to play faster, stronger, and play more explosive. It's contagious. Once some guy starts working out and really starts playing at a high level, now everybody else has to match it or get better. And that's what you want a team to do. That's exactly how we won the Super Bowl when I was with the Steelers. we thought that we were the best team because we practiced against the best players, and that's exactly what's going on with the Eagles.
Competition breeds success. I want to get back to one thing you said a minute ago about Tim Jernigan. He said he's probably the best free agent signing the Eagles made during the offseason. How much credit do you give of that to Howie Roseman, and how much do you give to Joe Douglas and his knowledge and background?
Well, that might be a little bit of joke because that was one of his guys there. He understood what he could do. I mean, the big knock on Jernigan was he didn't play hard all the time. Well, I'll be damned, he's not playing hard now. He is playing at a level which, all right, it's my contract year. I got to play hard. And it just gives me the best. I'm in the best circumstance because I have now somebody that you can't double team me now. You have to double team him. So I got to show out and show everybody, look at me. I want the big money. I'm going to pay. I want to play so I can get paid. And it's the best opportunity for the Eagles because even if you have to pay him, Joe Douglas would not playing him because he's already paid him before.
Right.
So, yeah, get this guy. He wants to be in there.
Monday Night Football coming off the Thursday nighter, so they have the extra day, and we'll break it down on Monday with Barrett Brooks, the former Eagles offensive lineman, Super Bowl champion, and now a part of NBC Sports Philadelphia Eagles postgame live. Of course, you could check that out after every Eagles game and every Monday right here on the Sports Bash 97.3 ESPN. BB, Monday Night Football, my man.
Appreciate you guys, man. I can't wait for Monday, man. We'll give you a little pre as opposed to post.